Good morning. Thank you for getting up early, the Phantom. Jeffrey McNeil. Welcome to LoveBabz, LoveTalk. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for getting up early. I know it's early. You're a musician. You're a maestro. I know. I know you. I know sleep is important and rest is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'm glad to be here.
So tell me about the Phantom and the Ilharmonic Orchestra. Tell me about this collaboration of orchestral music, a DJ, some hip hop influence, and some strong singing because your wife is your partner too.
Absolutely. Partner in life and partner on stage.
So tell
It's
me
a
about this story.
it's a mix of hip hop and live orchestral accompaniment. We also do some soul music, and it's just a mixture of all types of genres. And when people come to see it, they really get to see musicians on stage acting out the music that they've heard in their headphones or their speakers or something like that. I first got the idea to mix it when I was about 13 years old. I combined the Beastie Boys' Paul Revere with Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and since then I've kind of been putting these genres together.
So were you one of these kids that was classically trained? Like were you that kid?
So my to keep me off the North Philadelphia streets, my mother put me in flute and piano lessons. So when I heard hip hop, it didn't sound like other music. All of these musics sounded, like they blended together. And I grew up in sort of a household where music was everywhere. My father had this huge record collection from everything from Motown to Mozart, and my mom also made sure I was part of the church choir. So music was all around me. So the music didn't sound like it was different to me.
Okay. Now, did you have a band growing up? Were you a band kid?
I did not have a band, but I was part of a few hip hop groups in Philadelphia. We were all using James Brown samples like everybody else, until I tried to introduce the stuff that I was working on, which of course they didn't like at first. But now you can't see a hip hop artist without some sort of orchestral backing. It's sort of become a norm now for people.
So when you first heard some orchestral arrangement, did you automatically hear yourself mixing it in with something else? Like, how did you know to do it?
So when my brother brought home the Beastie Boys Paul Revere, like that that day, we played it on the turntable that was in the living room, and I immediately heard like, I think this will go with Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And my brother and I were b-boys back in the day, so we had already kind of started our breakdance routine to the theme from Star Wars. So the music was all around us, and it felt like it was part of hip hop. So yeah, I kind of heard it immediately, and I remember putting it on tape with my double tape deck recorder in the living room. I took it
Oh
to my
my gosh.
Right, I took it to my friend's house. I played it for him, and he popped the tape out and threw it across the room and told me it would never work. So from that moment, I kind of became married to the idea, and years later, the Phantom and the Ilharmonic Orchestra was born.
So tell me about the Ilharmonic, because when I hear Ilharmonic, I'm always thinking Nas. I'm always thinking, Illmatic. Like I'm always thinking like that because back in the day. But
Right.
you tell
So
me.
So ill has always been part of hip hop slang and lore.
Hmm.
So combining, a hip hop orchestra, ill harmonic, philharmonic, those sort of things were, it just popped into my head. The ill harmonic is a combination of musicians, from on stage this Saturday. You'll see musicians from Boston, from Connecticut, from Philly, from New York, on stage with us. And when we travel, we usually try to incorporate musicians from the area into ensemble. We've been performing for about 25 years, and thus far, I
Wow.
would say we've probably put about 500 different musicians on stage with us.
So tell me, how big is this ensemble? Like, how big is the orchestra?
So the standard is probably about 20 to 25 musicians. We've performed with up to about 50 musicians on stage before, though.
And so do you get practice time in, or do you just like send them the music? It's like, this is what we doing.
So both. So we send the music ahead of time just to make sure everyone's familiar, and then we practice, and then we perform.
Wow. And you've been doing this for 25 years, Jeff?
25 years. Yes, my wife and I.
All right, so tell me about your wife. Is there a love story to be told about this?
Absolutely. So it kind of is a music love story. My wife and I used to work together at Banana Republic in Philadelphia, and I tried to get her attention, but I didn't until I wound up leaving the company. But I saw her about a year and a half later at this club in Philadelphia. I asked her to dance, and the rest is history. But on our first date, I knew I liked her, so I wanted to impress her. So I picked her up in a limo and took her to a Mary J. Blige concert. And I didn't know how big of a Mary J. Blige fan she was until she brought this stack of CDs to the limo and sang all the way, from Philly to the Taj Mahal in New Jersey. And right then and there, I knew, she could sing. So I asked her, would she be part of this group that I was forming, and the rest is sort of a music history.
Oh, that's such a good story. You took
She
a
tells it
big
she tells it
gamble.
better than I do, but
How long have y'all been married?
we have been married about 14 years.
Okay. That's a good story. That was a huge gamble because you didn't know if it would pay off.
I mean, I wanted to see Mary J. Blige too, so
Okay, well, there you
so
go.
we were both getting something out of the deal.
All right, so you're gonna be in New Haven on Saturday. One
Yes,
show,
yes, one show.
and then and where do you go after that?
So our next stop would be Miami. So we're performing in Miami in December, and this is about our 19th show this year. It's been an action packed year for us for sure.
It sounds like it because I started following you all on social media. So what is it like to do all this traveling? I mean, clearly you love this what you do, but this is
Yes.
grueling.
It is. In this year, my wife and I, we left our jobs in corporate America to do this full time.
Wow.
It's been a labor of love for us for a number of years. But this tour really was kind of an undertaking, and we kind of made the choice to kind of do this full time. And for us, it's really about several things. So it's about representation. Like we really try to put musicians of color on stage who normally wouldn't necessarily either have a chance to perform in some of these venues that we perform in: Carnegie Hall, Kennedy Center, Schubert Theater, and things like that. And we also invite people who wouldn't necessarily normally be invited to these sort of venues. So really for us, the representation of the music, the culture, is kind of really what we love. And then it's the sort of the family atmosphere that we've been fortunate enough to be a part of and create. For the musicians when they show up to practice or the performance, it's really sort of like a family reunion. So we get as much out of it as we put in for sure.
Mm. So take me through a set. Like, will I hear some orchestra? Like, will I know Beethoven's Fifth Symphony if y'all play? Like, what will I hear?
You will hear a lot of music that you already know and love. We do some original music as well, but that's also a combination of music that we love. You'll be able to hear the instruments on stage. You'll be able to to discern. Oh, I knew I loved this song, but I didn't know that this song was arranged in that way, where there's a violin, there's a cello, there's a clarinet, there's a French horn, as part of the music. You'll definitely be able to hear some things that you know and love, some hip hop classics, some R&B classics, along with some original music.
Now, I don't know if you're a fan of Bridgerton. I don't know if you are, but their soundtrack. they have done exactly what you do. They took orchestral classical music with modern songs
Absolutely.
and did this wildly popular thing. And I mean, even Alicia Keys took a turn at doing some stuff. So do things like that help the kind of music you like to do?
Absolutely, it's funny. We have some videos that are popular on like TikTok and stuff like that. And in the comments, you'll see Bridgerton. You need this on your next soundtrack. It's funny that you mentioned that. But yes, in doing this, we've been kind of at the forefront in seeing other groups and things, try their hand at it. I think the difference for us is that, this is something that we do for every show. So it's not a one-off or a gimmick
Mm.
or anything like that. And we've been able to grow and watch others come up in the space.
And you have a DJ, which I don't know. I mean, I go to the symphony all the time. I've never seen a DJ.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's bringing the hip hop culture. The DJ is the beginning of hip hop culture, and for us, we need and want to represent hip hop. Hip hop has lyrics, so they'll be rapping and singing on stage. So we try to incorporate as many hip hop elements as possible during our performance.
Now, do y'all do any teaching of young people? Like, do you stop at music conservatories, or do you go into high schools and schools and talk to the musicians? Because it's a tough world out there. Musicians are, and I know a lot of musicians, particularly kids who are like, I really would like to make a living at this. I don't know how to do it. How do I find my own track?
So we've done speaking engagements. My wife and I just did a speaking engagement in North Carolina at a college and university, and we talk to young musicians, and we've even had musicians as young as 7 or 8 on stage with us. We had a 7-year-old musician with us at Carnegie Hall. So we incorporate young people sometimes into the performances, but we're always talking and looking for young musicians to kind of mentor for sure.
Mm. Is that important?
Absolutely. My wife and I are of age where, music was in school, but it was sort of being phased out. And we know the importance. Like I know the importance for my generation to see Soul Train and see musicians on stage. I know what, Barry White's Love Unlimited Orchestra looked like and what that meant for me and to see Prince and his ability to play 27 different instruments, so I know what seeing live musicians, and that's what kind of we do and we bring to the stage, and we see young people in the audience who may not get all of the hip hop references because some of it is not from their demographic, but we had a full circle moment where a few years ago a young mother brought her then 10-year-old cellist to come see us at the Kennedy Center, and my wife and I met them in the foyer, and jokingly, half jokingly, we said, you keep at it, one day you'll perform with us. Well, fast forward 6 years later, we go back to the DC area, and that young man is still playing cello, so we invite him to perform with us, and then he became part of what was a 40-piece all black orchestra for a Juneteenth performance in the DC area, and he you know he
Wow.
he performed with us about 6 or 7 times in totality before he went away to FAMU. So we have those full circle moments where we're interacting with the youth.
I love it. So what is your instrument of choice? Do you play like 10 instruments, or what do you?
So I compose and I MC. I have yet to play any instruments that I used to play on stage because I'm too busy rapping and conducting. And my wife is doing vocals as well.
Okay. So somebody has to lead this thing. You're doing that. And you've got
Yes.
all these. How do you find these musicians? Do they find you? Do you troll symphonies? Like what? How do you?
So it's a combination of both. Sometimes we're actively looking for musicians in an area, but we often field audition videos and things like that. People send us audition videos from all across the United States. So our Rolodex of musicians is vastly growing, but we're always looking for new musicians to perform with.
So you all will be at the Schubert Theater on Saturday,
Yes.
um, right? And what time is the
Yes.
show? Eight
The show
o'clock?
starts at 7 p.m.
Oh, ooh, that's a nice time to start. That's a good, like, I'm an old lady now, so 7 o'clock starts is nice. How long is the show?
The show will be about 2 hours, and it'll be like 15 to 20 minute intermission in between.
Mhm. And so you cover a lot of kind of music, a lot of genres. Like it'll be stuff we know, stuff we don't know.
Absolutely. And we invite the audience to be active participants. So you're not waiting to clap when a song is over. You're actually, we want you to sing and dance to the music that we're performing.
Oh, this is so not your mama's symphony. Like this
It
is
is
so not.
absolutely not. But it could
So,
be.
I know you have to go, but talk to me about this particular moment in time. I mean, so much is going on politically, so much is going on environmentally, so much is going on economically for people. How do you all survive? How do you manage and thrive and continue to sort of bring this joyous work to people?
So the music is kind of an escape, and we kind of seek to provide at least a 2 hour escape for people. Although during the course of the show, there are moments where we address kind of what's going on. But for us, and especially coming out of COVID, like we realized that building community through the music and things like that was necessary for us for people to sort of mentally survive. And what we try to do is create an environment where you can come in for 2 hours and kind of let some of those things go. And that's kind of how we power through these things and with the hope of music and performance.
Okay, who are you listening to right now? Like who do you find doing interesting music? Who do you like?
So
New
for
school,
me,
old school. Give me somebody old school and somebody new school.
um, Rakim is my favorite old school. Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J. New school, I would say Kendrick Lamar, Rhapsody. Um, you know, um, there's a few out there that J. Cole. There's I know Wale just dropped a new album that I'm eagerly to listen to. So there's some good music out there, and I know people are up in arms because hip hop left Billboard, but when I was growing up, hip hop wasn't on Billboard, and that was the greatest time for hip hop for me.
That's you made a very good point. That's a good point. You're right about that. So,
Yeah.
well, I so appreciate you getting up early, Jeffrey McNeil, the
Thank you so
Phantom.
much for having me.
I think this concert is going to be great. I think people are going to want you to come back through to New Haven. New Haven is a very arts city, and there are great opportunities for you to play more and do more. So thank you
Awesome.
for your time and say hi to the rest of your team, and have
Absolutely.
a good show Saturday night.
Thank you. We've sold over 1,000 tickets so far, so I think it's going to be packed.
I hope so. That's a good time. That's a good time.
Awesome.
And the Schubert Theater, I don't know if you've been in there yet, but it's very beautiful. They've got new seating. So, and it's got the historical aspect,
Yes.
and those folks over there are really, really engaging and are excited about having you. So
Awesome.
welcome to my city and eat some pizza while you're here.
I've been told pizza is the thing to get, so I'll definitely be getting some of that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day and enjoy the show on Saturday.
Yes, thank you. Have a good one.
All right. All right, y'all. So there might be a couple of tickets left if you want them. Get over to the Schubert. I don't know. They might be sold out, but go call them and see what's happening. Feel free to log off anytime you want. All right, Harry, I'm gonna go take a couple of minutes, and then I'll be back. And I've got Tamika G. Miller from the Greater New Haven Boys and Girls Club at 7:30.